Live from Johnny's Tavern in West Lawrence, this is Hawk Talk with Bill Self on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. In the next hour, Coach Self will break down your Jayhawks and take your questions at 1-800-845-HAWK. That's 1-800-845-HAWK. Hawk Talk with Bill Self is presented by Boulevard Brewing Company, local since 1989. Capital Federal Savings, celebrating 125 years. By Johnny's Tavern, serving up tradition since 1953 in the Lawrence and Kansas City area. And by Intrust Bank, proud supporter of Kansas athletics. Now, alongside Coach Self, here's your host, the voice of the Jayhawks, Brian Haney.
Good evening and welcome into Hawk Talk, coming to you live tonight from our new home inside Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence, as we talk all things Kansas Jayhawk basketball for the next 60 minutes right here on the Jayhawk Sports Network. And we talk about this Kansas basketball team that again in overtime last night got the job done. 3-0 in overtime this year. A huge road win at TCU, a team that previously was undefeated in league play at home. They'd won 8 straight Big 12 home games, but your Jayhawks go in there and emerge victorious last night. We're going to have a ton of fun breaking that down over the next hour. Coach, congrats on the win.
Oh, thank you. And it was never a doubt. So, no, it was a great win. You know, we actually we played pretty well after a really bad start. Then we actually settled in and played pretty well for about the next till about the 5-minute mark. So what would that be? About the next 32 minutes or something like that. And then we played miserably down the stretch and was fortunate to get it in overtime. And then we played great in overtime. So I was really proud of our guys. Really proud of them. I thought they competed hard. I thought they really did.
No doubt. So many aspects of this win to break down as a team, individually, all of that. We'll spend the next 60 minutes doing that. But you kind of felt like something special might happen last night because you told me the attitude, the energy, and the shoot-around earlier in the day was as good as it had been. The locker room was as good as it had been. It's since that, like, through everything you'd been through the last couple of weeks, and this club had been through a lot, that maybe they were forming a tighter huddle and maybe something good was about to happen. Did you sense that heading into Monday?
I thought we would. I think you can have a lot of things go well and still not win. Other team tries too, and they got good players, but you give yourself no chance to win if you don't have those type of intangibles, especially away from home. And we had those intangibles, and that was something that we've had. It seems like just about every other team that we've ever had. For 80% of the games, when you play away from home, that you knew going in that, hey, if our heads are right, we will have a great chance tonight. Well, I take that back. 100% of the time, you think if our heads were right, we'd have a great chance tonight. But that's probably only about 80% of the time where that actually occurs. And it doesn't have anything to do with attitudes. It could have something to do with fatigue. It could have something to do with, whatever, distractions, whatever. Well, last night was the first time in a long time it felt like we didn't have any of that negative stuff kind of hanging over us, and I was really proud of our guys because there's some reasons for that, with some individuals, but just watching a freshman play with so much joy and play with a smile on his face all the time like Ochai does, that stuff's contagious. Yep. And certainly I thought even when it got bad and we were obviously struggling when it got the hardest, I thought that's when we competed the hardest, and that was also a good sign to see.
No doubt, no doubt. We'll talk about Ochai, but why don't we start with Devon Dotson? He plays all 45 minutes for you.
What Ochai play, 44?
41.
41, okay.
Yeah. But also super impressive.
Yeah,
but how about Devon? Doesn't come off the floor. There were the cramps late in overtime, and at this point you're down to just 5 scholarship players because of 3 guys fouling out. He wasn't going to come off the floor, and he's perfect from the stripe in overtime, fighting through all of that. Just showed us so much.
Well, you're right. He wasn't going to come off the floor. It wasn't like he showed a lot of courage. He wasn't going to come off the floor, period. But no, he played great. It may have been his best game, but he had a couple of really bad plays there late in the late in regulation. He missed a front end, which that happens. We missed 4 front ends in a row too, but he missed a front end, and that happens. And then he got his pick at his pocket pick there once, and then he kind of got – guy came up from behind, and he didn't realize he's behind him in the backcourt, that when he fell, and then he got up, and 7 seconds later, he steals the ball from behind, or 5 seconds later. So there were a couple of unfortunate things that happened, but I mean, he shot it, he competed, he got downhill, he did a great job defensively the entire game. I thought he was terrific. Of course, I'm biased, and I get to be with him every day, but there's some things you could certainly nitpick and say, well, he needs to do this better, needs to do that better, which is true if you're a point guard. Same as a quarterback. I mean, he throws for touchdowns or whatever, but you can still learn to read defenses better or do some things better. But when they're young, but certainly the way that he competed and the way he's learned to compete, we can't take him off the court. He's just too valuable.
And especially since Marcus Garrett went out. It's been a couple of weeks now, but he's taken on even more on his plates. And I don't know if you guys heard this, but earlier today was announced the National Freshman of the Week. He has been phenomenal here of late.
Yeah, he's been good. Yeah, he's been good. We've had another freshman that's been almost equally as good too. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for those guys, but I'm more happy for our team than I am the individuals. And KJ Lawson ain't going to get much credit, except in our own little circle that we have. But he was great last night, and even though you should look at him as a whole, don't look at them individually. Look at them as a whole and what they do, and you combine the intangible things that David and Mitch do. I mean, that's 40 or 35 to 40 really good minutes that we got from that position as well, just like we did against Oklahoma State. So I was really pleased. And on a night where Diedrich, wasn't obviously quite as sharp offensively as he has been in some other games, we needed those other guys to come through, and they did.
They certainly did. Let me take you back to KJ for a second. His two greatest contributions as a Jayhawk this season have both come in overtime wins in terms of minutes played, points, all of that. Tennessee up in Brooklyn, the #1 team in the country now. He helped us take down them. And then last night in an overtime game, he also rises to the occasion, hits the two biggest shots of the night. Speak to how clutch those two contributions were, as well as everything else he did in helping KU get the W.
Well, the first one was a great play, but that's his move, that's his shot, a little running floater. But the second one was a better play in overtime, where he drove baseline and jumped up on 2 feet and shot a little floater off 2 feet there on the baseline over a tall guy. So yeah, he did really well, and he was kind of Johnny on the spot, last night. Got to be in the right place at the right time a couple of times, but I was really pleased, and he needs more opportunities. I was really pleased in what he contributed.
No doubt. We'll continue to break this one down, take some in-house audience questions. We have more great Jayhawk pewter statues to give out tonight for our top in-house question. If you're not joining us in person, though, in Lawrence, you can call us up at 1-800-845-HAWK. That's 1-800-845-4295. Or if you don't want to talk to us, you can text us, 234-25-HAWKS, plural. 234-25-HAWKS is the text line if you'd like to do it that way. Of course, you can also submit your questions and comments for Coach anytime during the week online at KUathletics.com or Facebook and Twitter. More coming up with head coach Bill Self right after this. Hawk Talk is sponsored by Delta Dental of Kansas. Protect your healthy smile. Learn more about individual and family plans at deltadentalks.com. Back with more from Johnny's Tavern West Lawrence on the Equity Bank Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
When you believe, you inspire. When you love, you dream. When you breathe, you create. When you laugh, you cry. And when you're reliable, you trust. Capital Federal, predictably true blue.
When we were caregiving for Grandma and Grandpa in their room, they wanted a certain temperature, and you could regulate and keep their temperature in that room instead of all of us sweating bullets in the house.
Kate's servicemen really understood our needs. We spoke to them about the grandparents' room. They wanted that one room very, very warm, and they were able to accomplish that. We know when we walk in the door, the temperature's going to be right where we like it. So it's been wonderful having Kate's heating and cooling. We love it.
Diagnostic Imaging Centers has always been at the forefront of new technology, delivering innovative solutions to patients for more than 50 years, right here in Kansas City. From the bumps and bruises of childhood to the joys of starting your very own family and the peace of mind you get from a routine screening, Diagnostic Imaging Centers is building the future so you can focus on yours.
Here in Kansas, we're blessed with an abundance of oil and natural gas energy, as well as many other natural resources. Some folks say that producing oil and natural gas harms our farms and ranches. The truth is, oil and gas leasing and production are vital to sustaining Kansas farms and ranches from one generation to the next. We work together, and over the past 40 years, there has not been a single instance of groundwater pollution from hydraulic fracturing or injection wells in Kansas by our industry. Get the facts at kansasstrong.com.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Robinson, little stop and go, putting on a dribbling display, but his pass is picked off by Abaji. Ochai to the rim, a right hand, tomahawk jam, thrown down by Abaji. How about Ochai Abaji? Welcome back to Hawk Talk, live from Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight, all across the great Sunflower State and across Jayhawk Nation as well. You can call us up at 1-800-845-HAWK if you'd like to ask Coach a question. Speaking of Ochai Abaji, we were talking a lot about Devon Dotson in that opening segment, and Devon, as I mentioned, was named the National Freshman of the Week by CBS and the U.S. Basketball Writers Association earlier today, so that's tremendous. But the story of Ochai Abaji is quickly becoming one of the best stories in the 16 years of the Bill Self era. Am I right? This guy just continues to do amazing things. And last night, certainly another great performance. Second career double-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 6 of 12 from the floor. Hits a huge three in overtime when a couple other guys passed up on it. He takes it and makes it. Can you put a word on just how astonishing these last 4 weeks have been since you made the decision to pull the red shirt, and we're seeing all of this unfold this last month?
Well, I think astonishing makes it sound like it's maybe it's fabricated a little bit. I think it's fantastic. I think the thing that I like most is he plays with the look on his face and with the passion that you should play with if you love something. I mean, he's always smiling. He screws up, he smiles. He whatever it is, and you know, the thing that I've you know, we knew he would be good right from the get-go. I mean, I told all our team this summer when he's practicing with us, he's going to end up getting the last laugh on everybody. We knew that. I didn't know that it was going to happen this soon, but his attitude and guys enjoy playing with him, and he's become, you know, a leader. I mean, and the more he leads, the more Devon's getting more comfortable leading too. So yeah. I think that he has done wonders for our team and made us much better than what we had a chance to be if we hadn't have brought him out.
I love it. You know, you mentioned his ability to lead even as just a true freshman who's only been playing in games for about a month. I don't know if you saw this last night. Late in the first half, there was a moment where Diedrich was on the bench, and we were coming back from a TV timeout, and the TV timeout had run a little long, and he was getting set to play the ball in, Abaji, but he had an extra 10 or 15 seconds, and I don't know what he saw on the face of Diedrich Lawson, but he ran about 60 feet over from the inbound position back to your bench to give him a fist bump or a high five or something, and then ran right back just in time to get the ball and get it in. And I thought, wow, that's a freshman encouraging a redshirt junior just because he had a spare couple of seconds and thought he needed a boost. And does that speak to what you see on a daily basis from Ochai?
Yeah, for the most part. I don't know the situation that you're talking about, but yeah, for the most part, he's consistent in his attitude and his encouragement of others at all times. You know, I think I shared this with Jeff Long, our head hawk, not too long ago.
Danny, Mrs. Head Hawk is here as well. Great to have you guys in the crowd tonight.
I think I shared this with him not too long ago, and I don't know if people agree, but there's a lot of leaders out there. People say that our team needs leaders. Well, usually the teams that say they need leaders, they've got leaders. It's just sometimes they're not all good ones. A lot of there's probably more poor leaders than there are good leaders out there. As far as you can, if you take the air out of a room, then you're a leader. You have the ability to do that. I mean, that's something that is impressive. That's not natural. If you can pump air into a room, then that's being a leader. I don't know that there's too many people that don't do either one in some form or fashion. And Ochai is a guy that he's always pumping air into it. It has been really fun to watch, and for a guy that's gotten as much attention as he has in a short amount of time, which which is very deserved and everything. To see how he hasn't changed anything. The only way he's changed in any form that we can detect is that he's just more confident. But he's certainly not changed his approach or taken a relaxing step back in any way, shape, or form. He feels that he can improve a lot on what he's already done, and I think he's going to continue to get better. He can't help but get better if you try that hard and you have that attitude.
What's the next step in his development, would you say?
Well, I think that just continue to do what he's doing. Everybody can shoot it better. Everybody can handle it better. Everybody can pass it better. Everybody can get stronger. There's a lot of things, but right now, I mean, I'll be candid with you. If we could get consistent play right now like this throughout the rest of the season, I would say that would be something that we would live with and be very happy with. Because what's he got, 20 and 23 the last two games?
Yeah.
So I mean, well, he needs to score more. Well, for a guy that just got out there, I'm not sure that that's very realistic. So I just want him to keep doing what he's been doing.
Great answer. He's performing like an all-league guy just 1 month in. He has been tremendous, that's for sure. Well, not trying to make it about the individuals. There's just so many good storylines to ask you about, and one happened over the weekend with Mitch Lightfoot coming in versus Oklahoma State. How about the great contributions of toughness and hustle and setting the tone and good leadership out of him as well coming off the bench?
Yeah, I thought Mitch was he may not have been the best player in the game, but he was probably our most valuable player against Oklahoma State because the things that he did are the intangible things that this team needs as much as anything. I was so pleased for him because he loves this place more than anybody. Growing up in Kansas City and even though they moved, but dreamed of playing here. So and it's been a hard year for him, from an individual standpoint. But he's certainly getting opportunity now, and David, we can throw David in there too. David's ball screen defense last night was as good as any bigs had in a long time here, so let's make sure we give him credit too. Both of them do some things I think that you do naturally when you don't get an opportunity to play a ton. That they would probably do better if they had those opportunities. But I was really happy for both of those guys, and David. It kind of goes without saying, but I don't know if people remember, Samuels wore us out, and then both those guys collectively did such a good job on him yesterday that he wasn't near as big a factor.
Just 4 points and 5 rebounds. They did a terrific job indeed on Kevin Samuel. Well, we're going to come back in just a second, start to take some of the audience questions and text questions as well. Again, that phone number to call if you'd like to dial us up is 1-800-845-HAWK or text us at 234-25-HAWKS. We're at Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence, 6th and Wakarusa, and for great local sports bars in the Kansas City area, visit one of their 10 area locations. More coming up from Johnny's Tavern on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Charlie Moore, left side, enters into Diedrich. Diedrich across the paint, flings in the corner. Dotson for three. Yes! Devon Dotson from the corner, and KU's back within one. How about Devon Dotson last night? A career-high 4 3-pointers made, a career-high 25 points. Your National Freshman of the Week, Devon Dotson. Welcome back to Hawk Talk, brought to you in part by Diagnostic Imaging Centers, centered on you, and by Intrust Bank, a proud supporter of Kansas athletics. We continue to take texts and phone calls as well. The text line 234-25-HAWKS, or you can call us at 1-800-845-HAWK. I referenced your 3-0 in overtime games this year, and we have an in-house audience question about the feeling you felt when Mario sent you into overtime back in 2008. I always feel like when the Hawks force overtime, with the advantage of a Hall of Fame head coach and then usually some momentum that it took to get there, that, hey, we got this. But how confident were you last night when the 12-point lead is blown, but you rally back from down 4, KJ hits the big shot? I know depth issues were a concern, but did you sense there was extra momentum on the Kansas side?
I sensed that we lost all momentum, and I don't know if I sensed it, I knew it. And then when KJ made the shot, I knew that it was back to level ground.
Okay.
It was totally different. You know, when Mario made the shot, we went on a 9-0 run or whatever to end the, or whatever it was. We were down 9 with 2 left, or $1.51 left to be exact, and so we had all the momentum naturally going in there. You know, when we played West Virginia a couple years ago, when we were down 14 with 2 minutes left, we had all the momentum going in there. There's been times where we've screwed it up, and the other team had all the momentum going into overtime, and that's the hardest ones to do because you're deflated a little bit. So, but last night I thought it was a level playing field. They won the tip, and then they missed a decent shot. I think Bain missed a decent shot, and I think we scored on the first possession. And even though it didn't seem like much, you know, we never had to play from behind in overtime, and so I think that was an advantage for us.
That was big. It's Gordon, by the way, that asked about what you were thinking when Mario put you into the extra 5 minutes down in San Antonio. And am I not alone? Who else thinks whenever we force overtime, we got this, right? I mean, there's just an air of confidence.
You just jinxed us, Brian.
No. We're 3-0 this year. We want to keep it that way. Point is, it had that feeling last night. Absolutely it did, and certainly the Jayhawks backed it up. That was great to see. Jim in our listening audience wonders, when the lead was lost late in regulation, what did you tell the guys in the huddle? And then also, what was the conversation that sparked them to grab it back in overtime?
There's not a conversation. That's people make too much of everything in so many ways. You know, even though we lost all momentum, and I did say one thing to him that probably isn't repeatable right now, but the bottom line is, you know, we put ourselves in this position. How are we going to get ourselves out of it?
Right.
And there was still plenty of time to do it, even though it didn't look great. And I'm trying to think of how we did it. Did we make 2 free throws? I can't remember how we did it to cut it from 4 to 2. And then we got 2 stops in a row they had 2 possessions out of the last 3, and we got 2 stops and scored on KJ. So that forced the overtime. So we were fortunate that it went overtime. But once it got into the overtime, I did feel good. I felt like that, you know, we had the best player on the floor as far as overall, and that being Diedrich. And then things didn't go well with that, you know, him fouling out and everything. And even with that being said, we still had the best player on the floor. And so I think in short spurts, whenever you have the best guy, you always have a chance.
No doubt. In the same way that sometimes folks make too much about what may or may not have been said in a huddle, sometimes we as fans like to look at certain games and say, oh, man, that's going to be the turning point or the catalyst to a big run. Yeah. And sometimes more is made of that. Yeah. But sometimes there's some truth to that, too.
Well, you don't know that till after the fact.
Exactly. It's like they say in baseball, momentum's only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. Yeah. Momentum in basketball is only as good as if you back it up the next game, right? But could last night, in the way that you talked about with a tighter huddle and the guys' heads being in a good place and you experience that road success, could it pay some dividends?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it could, and it could not. You know, I had a journalist buddy of mine talking about Joel Embiid after we played down at Baylor, and it was a lead story all over the ticker and everything that Joel Embiid may or may not go to the NBA after this year. and I thought, wow, that's great journalism. May or may not. So there's only two options, and he may or may not. I mean, that's great journalism. And that's kind of what I feel about this. You know, you never know. I'd like to say yes, but, you know, that's if everything stays the way it is as it ended the game last night. What about if there's a turned ankle tomorrow? What about if there's something else that happens? What you don't ever know. True. You can't predict what the things that are going on. So yeah, you hope it is, and I do believe this, to your point. I believe it will be, but I don't know that there's any guarantee that's certainly the case. But I think we'll play our best ball moving forward.
Excellent perspective in a season where there have been more unforeseen curveballs than probably your previous 15 years, where whether it's an ankle or a leave of absence or something, this team's dealt with a lot of twists and turns. So you're right to say we shouldn't take anything for granted. Anything can happen. But speaking of twisted ankles, you told me yesterday you thought it might be wishful thinking to get Marcus Garrett back on Saturday. Can you expand on that and how he's recovering from his high ankle sprain?
Well, I think that he's making some progress, but it's slow. And the training staff, Bill, feels that he's not in a bad place at all, but he's in a bad place considering what we wish he was. And with those high ankle sprains, you know, I've never had one. I've had several ankle sprains, but never had a high ankle sprain that you know was a totally different feel and everything than a low one. You know, he's hurting, and when he works out and does certain things, sometimes swelling occurs again and that kind of stuff. But he may be weeks away from being 100%. But the reality of it is, if you know, we thought it would be very hopeful and maybe realistic to get him back by Saturday, and then based on where he is right now, as of yesterday, because I didn't see Mark today, I don't know that's as realistic. Moving forward. But if there is a good thing about it, it's that the fact that we have a week off next week. Right. So you know, that may give him a little time to try to get right. We need to have him practicing by next Tuesday or so to have him be close to at least into some game rhythm before we play on the following Saturday.
Which would be in Lubbock, Texas. He had a big moment in that game down in Lubbock a year ago on a big posterizing dunk. We'd love to have him back for that one on the 23rd. All right, we've got to step aside for another timeout. When we come back, more in-house audience questions. We'll take a peek at the text line as well, 234-25 Hawks. The temperature is dropping, but the Hawks are heating up. Cheer louder and watch longer with an unfiltered wheat beer. Boulevard Brewing Company, local since 1989. And as I mentioned, we're at Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence, 6th and Wakarusa, and for a great local sports bar, visit one of Johnny's Tavern's 10 area locations. More coming up on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Diagnostic Imaging Centers has always been at the forefront of new technology, delivering innovative solutions to patients for more than 50 years, right here in Kansas City. From the bumps and bruises of childhood to the joys of starting your very own family, and the peace of mind you get from a routine screening. Diagnostic Imaging Centers is building the future so you can focus on yours.
When you believe, you inspire. When you love, you dream. When you breathe, you create. When you laugh, you cry. And when you're reliable, you trust. Capital Federal, predictably true blue.
A smile, such a simple gesture, an effortless contraction of muscles, a flash of teeth. Healthy smiles have the power to spread joy, courage, and love. When you smile, it transforms you and the world around you. So if you feel the urge, go ahead and use that simple gesture to spread joy. Keep your smile healthy and strong. Choose Delta Dental for your individual or family plan, protecting more smiles than anyone.
Hello, Kansas. We're your energy industry. In the past, we've shown you beautiful slow-motion images of gorgeous Kansas sunsets, basketball games, and other images that promote our industry. But right now, it's important that you know the facts, like the fact that during the past 40 years, there has not been a single instance of groundwater pollution from hydraulic fracturing or injection wells in Kansas by our industry. We respect our state and its natural resources. Get the facts at kansasstrong.com.
Did you get your new Truity Visa card yet? You'll save money with 1.99 APR for 15 months. That's right, 1.99 APR with any new Truity Visa card. This rate's good on all purchases and cash advances for the first 15 months. What are you waiting for? Start saving money today. TruityCU.org/credit cards. With approved credit, come in or go online for details.
Calling for the ball. Quinton feeds it to him. Kicks to Dotson. Dials up a three and delivers. Devon Dotson with his 4th three-point make. More highlights from last night's big win in overtime. 82-77 at TCU. We referenced 4 three-pointers made by Devon Dotson, a new career high. He's been right around 40% all season, but they haven't been high-volume numbers. But we're starting to see him without Marcus Garrett in the game take on a more assertive, aggressive scoring role, and some of that's meant shooting more threes, especially with Nola Gerald last couple of games. What do you make of his three-point prowess, and is this about what we should expect?
Well, I hope so. You know, I think 7 is the most attempts he's had this year, and 4 is the most makes he's had. So I'd like to be able to pencil in 4 every game, but that's probably not realistic. But, you know, just you know, if he can make 40% of his wide open deep looks, that's darn good. I mean, you know, people go to the bank with that. So, you know, and he's done that for the most part all year long. The thing I like most about it is he's looking for a shot more than he has in the past, which is something that he has to do. We got to, you know, people know we labor to score. So, you know, any time that we can, you know, get more contribution from him or Quentin or whoever, I think that's a big bonus instead of just relying on Diedrich to get 25 every night.
How much does him hitting more threes and at a higher clip set up his dribble drive if they have to come out more and respect, say, a 45% three-point shooter?
Oh, I think it helps, but I also think that no matter who we're playing, every coach in the league is going to say keep him out of the paint.
Right.
So even if he's on a roll, they're still going to say keep him out of the paint. Sure. So I'm not sure it'll affect a ton on how people defend him, but I hope it does. I hope it does, and of course, the more he's pressured, I feel like the more opportunity is it for him to force help.
No doubt. All right, let's take an email question. You can submit the email questions anytime during the week at KUathletics.com. This one comes from Brian in Kansas City, Missouri. He says, since coming to Kansas, which player that you've recruited in your 16 seasons here has surprised you the most with what he did once he got here?
Geez, that's a hard one. Frank. I didn't really anticipate Frank being National Player of the Year before we got here, or Devontae being first-team All-American. Sure. But you know, I think that you know there's been so many that have done such a great job, but certainly the ones that would surprise you pleasantly the most would be the ones that come in a little bit less heralded than the others. And you know, we've had plenty of guys like that have been terrific. You know, whether it be Tyrell, whether it be Brady, you know, obviously, you know, Darnell Jackson was an NBA player, and he didn't even make All-State in Oklahoma, you know, as a high school senior. So there's been a lot, and people make a lot out of Ochai. Ochai's probably probably done as good a job as anybody that we've had, you know, in his freshman year, without question. But he's still got to take a couple more steps to get to where some of those other guys were. Sure. But I think he's on a pretty good trajectory right now.
Absolutely is. Brian, thanks for the question. Thanks for listening on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City, and thanks for emailing via KUathletics.com. All right, back to the in-house audience questions. Chris is with us tonight, and he says, Coach, What would you have done if Dotson couldn't have stayed in the game? Talking about the cramping, which at the time we didn't know it was cramping right away. You probably did, but didn't know what the injury was. You were down to literally just the walk-ons on the bench.
Well, that one of them would have played. Tehan would have gone in the game without question. So, and Chris is a good player. He just hadn't had any opportunities to play this year because we haven't had very many blowout games where guys can get in. But and Garrett Lewinstra is a good player. He's a good player, and he's got to do some things from a strength standpoint and everything. But he's got some stuff to his game. Without question, but yeah, one of those guys would have had to step in and play, and the way the rule reads, if I'm not mistaken, it used to be you could sub in who you want to shoot the free throw, and that's not the way the rule is now. The rule is now the opposing coach picks one of the 4 players that's on the court to go shoot the free throw. So they would have picked, I'm sure, David McCormick. Or a young guy,
46%.
But I would say David, and so David would have had to make the free throw. So it was not saying he couldn't because he made 2 earlier, but Devon has been our best clutch free throw shooter.
And he was able to go 6 for 6 in overtime from the free throw line. He's now attempted over 100 free throws on the year. Like we said, not Frank Mason-like yet, but the fact that a freshman has been driving the ball that much and drawing contact that well.
Well, he's well ahead of Frank as a freshman.
True.
Yes. Well ahead. But Frank had a few things go right for him between his freshman and his senior year too, though.
Point is, in terms of free throws attempted, he is really getting up there for a rookie, that's for sure. Chris, thanks a lot for the question. We appreciate that. Okay, Lauren's with us tonight. By the way, Lauren and Shelley bring us the great cookies each week. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate that. He wants to know, not that we want to give away secrets here, but he says, what's up with the hand signal of 555?
I don't know. Who does that?
He must have seen this in the game, unless this is an Arby's ad or something. I don't know.
No, if we're on defense and we do this, that means switch 5.
Okay.
So switch 5. If we do that, we do have a play that's 5, and then we have a play that's 5 spin offensively. But and we actually tried doing them both yesterday, and one of them was decent, and the other one was awful. So we may not do that one as much, but I don't have any knowledge of what this means. Probably a nervous twitch. So, I don't know.
Jazz hands. You have a lot of plays where you point to something on the face, chin, nose, fist, that kind of thing. Who did you pull that from when you were coming up through the coaching ranks on what you call your plays and how you identify them?
Any third base coach. I've always thought that was I used to do it this way, and we screwed it up so much because we've changed what we do so much. But it used to be anything above the shoulders was man, and anything above the waist to the shoulders was zone. So it's chest, it's hip, it's belly, whatever, shoulder, those were zone plays, and then eye, nose, mouth, chin, ear, cheek, neck, pad head. All those things were man, okay? But we got so many that we ran out of body parts to do our stuff. So so it doesn't work quite as good as it used to. But that's why I've always done it, and people know that. So when we're scouted, if we go like this, everybody on the bench or out on the court will say I or whatever, and we're not quite, we're still young, and so we can leave a timeout and say, okay, guys, we're going to run cheek right here, okay? But nobody call it out, and then as we dribble it up, Devon will do this, and so they know what we're going to do anyway. So
did you put in a unibrow play for the 2012 title game against Anthony Davis?
Oh, no, God.
That's his nickname, of course. Absolutely. All right, well, thanks for the question, Lauren. Sorry we didn't have
it didn't work if we did. So.
Well, if the game was 42 minutes long, it might have. You guys had a great comeback in that one, too. All right, when we come back, we will spin the wheel. We'll take a couple text questions as well. Thanks for joining us tonight on Hawk Talk from Johnny's Tavern West. Lawrence, Hawk Talk is brought to you by Jana King, the official cleaning partner of Kansas Athletics. Don't miss Jayhawk coverage on Xfinity X1, Channel 258. This week it's men's basketball on Saturday versus West Virginia. 2:30 on the start time for Jayhawk game. Game Day Live pregame 30 minutes prior to tip-off. More coming up on the Equity Bank Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Grimes dribbles out between the circles, going between his legs, finds Dotson on the right wing. Dietrich calling for the ball. They skip to KJ. Lawson will drive. He'll shoot and tie this game. A huge shot in the clutch by KJ Lawson. Boy, wasn't that big for KJ? Yeah, big huge moment. Speaks a lot to waiting your turn, staying mentally sharp. You never know when it's going to be your game. And as I said, in 2 of the overtime games this year, we wouldn't have won without him. So what can you say positively on top of what you already did about KJ's mental preparedness, not knowing when his number might be called?
Yeah, he was ready to play. It's kind of a, if you play him at the 4 as a second big guy, it allows Dietrich to be the big guy, but here lately people have just been beating the heck out of Dietrich, so you kind of want to put somebody else in there that now Dietrich can play on the perimeter more, so that probably doesn't help KJ's minutes as much. But we need to look at playing him more as a sub for a guard, but I really like KJ. He's got something to him that's a winning, DNA that I don't want to say a lot of people have, but there are several that have it, and you want as many on your team to have it as possible. But he's a winner. And the other thing about him is he's not scared to go compete and to go make a play. And so when you don't get a chance to play a lot, it's harder for a player to step in and assume that role. But he had no problem accepting it yesterday.
He did not, and he's a fascinating kid. We talked about him before. Plays chess. He's vegan. He reads the encyclopedia every day. He collects library books in his apartment. Pretty impressive stuff. And he's getting married very soon in the summertime, I understand. Engaged man. And in honor of that, it's a good segue to Jerry and Sherry's question. This lovely couple to my left are celebrating 55 years on Thursday.
Oh, that's on Valentine's Day.
Sherry had Jerry marry her on Valentine's Day, so he'd never forget their anniversary, I'm told. And they want to know what you and Miss Cindy have planned for Valentine's.
Well, we haven't really gotten that far yet. We still got 48 hours to decide that. So, no, it's Cindy is spending some time with our granddaughter right now. So,
sure.
But she'll be back. But you know, that was nice that when we went to Fort Worth. Of course, they're in Dallas, so that was nice that we had a chance to see Lauren and Hayden and Ella, and then so she stayed down there, you know, to spoil her even more for a couple of days, and then she'll come back.
Miss Ella's about 14 or 15 months by now.
She is exactly. Thanks for asking. She's exactly 14 months and about 6 days.
How about that?
So yeah, but she's doing great, but yeah, it's always good to see them. So.
And your daughter will be exactly 28 years in exactly 3 days, right? Happy birthday to Lauren.
No, not 3 days. I need to know. I need to 5 days.
Yes.
5 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Lauren. And today's Scott Pollard's birthday as well, so we'll just get them all out there on the birthdays and the anniversaries.
You're giving Scott Pollard a shout-out?
Well, he was on the wheel earlier, so we got to give him a shout-out.
God dang.
Speaking of the wheel, if you're watching on TV, you can see it is that time. This week we've added the category Kansas Kids. It's a question from anybody from any era of KU basketball that was born and raised in the Sunflower State. So there you go. We'll spin the wheel. Ted Owens era. Okay.
Ted Owens era. Okay.
We've got Roy Williams era, Bill Self era, Ted Owens era. And who could it be today? Let's cue it up from the Ted Owens era.
Coach Bud Stallworth, how you doing? As you know, I got to the University of Kansas by playing a little basketball. I was a trumpet player beside being a basketball player. Do you have any other skills beside being a coach? And did you play any instruments before you did anything else?
You know, isn't Bud great?
I love Bud.
He asked a question just so we could talk about him. Well, Bud, you know, I don't know if people understand the story about Bud.
Yeah.
And if you hang out with him for 3 or 4 minutes, he'll tell you. But no, Bud's the best. But he came here at a band camp, and he's at a band camp, and while he's at the camp, some of the KU players or whatever see him playing, and they go tell Coach Owens, you may want to come look at this kid. And he goes and looks at him, which would be an automatic violation probably, but he goes and looks at him and offers him scholarship, and he comes to school here, and then you know, he wasn't a good player. Bud was a great player. I mean, yes. I always give him crap, but the reality of it is anybody can drop 50 on your biggest rival is a bad man, and he did that. You know, he did that on Missouri. So, but he's a great player, and no, Bud, to make yourself look even better, I did not play any instruments. I have no talent other not well, very little even at coaching, probably the way most people see it. But the bottom line is that Bud was a multi-talented guy. He could do a lot of different things, and he very bright too. He
was an academic All-American.
Very bright, very bright.
His parents didn't want to play basketball because they were afraid he wasn't going to study and hit the books as hard. So how about that? But you didn't play any instruments. Did you sing? Did you do anything musically?
In the shower.
In the shower. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Rolling Stones or whatever we learned a couple of weeks ago in your hype-up music. But good stuff. All right. Well, thank you, Bud. We appreciate that. No other hidden talents besides basketball coaching? He can hit a golf ball. I know that. You can hit it about 300 down the middle.
Yeah. No, I can't. Okay. Used to be able to maybe, but no. Okay. We lost a few yards over the years.
Still straight, though. All right. Bud, thanks for the question. That's Spin the Wheel. Thanks for playing the game, guys. When we come back, we'll have some more fun with Coach as we wrap it up and take a look at West Virginia. I want to tell you first, though, about First National Bank. They offer you the chance to be an honorary captain, receive game tickets, an autographed ball, a VIP tour of Allen Fieldhouse, and more. Register at any First National Bank branch or visit fnbo.com/Jayhawks. More coming up from Johnny's Tavern West Lawrence on the Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
When we were caregiving for Grandma and Grandpa in their room, they wanted a certain temperature, and you could regulate and keep their temperature in that room instead of all of us sweating bullets in the house.
Kate's servicemen really understood our needs. We spoke to them about the grandparents' room. They wanted that one room very, very warm, and they were able to accomplish that. We know when we walk in the door, the temperature's going to be right where we like it. So it's been wonderful having Kate's heating and cooling. We love it.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Hi.
I'm not letting you in. No more apps.
But I can let you gain Kansas lottery points. Enter second chance drawings, win more. Points can go to any prize you want.
Any prize?
Yeah. Play on, man.
Okay, you can come in. But don't ask me to update you right away.
I mean, we hardly know each other.
Oh, right.
With the Play On app, you can gain more points and win more. See kslottery.com for details.
Diedrich skips to Quinton, out to Devon. Nobody wants to shoot it. Ochai will, and Ochai will hit. 3 Hawks passed up on a shot, but Abaji says, I got this. He had it indeed. He knocked it down. An overtime 3 for Ochai Abaji. And the Jayhawks go on to win at 82-77. All right, let's squeeze in a couple of more quick audience questions. Isla's with us tonight. She says, Coach Hootie must be awesome and super strong with this team. Who do you think she's worked on the most this year and helped improve the most with strength and conditioning?
Well, she is good. There's no question about that. But I don't know. They showed me some before and after pictures of Diedrich. That is pretty impressive. Diedrich has really redefined his body in a very positive way. I still think that his lower half can certainly get stronger so he can hold position better, because people lay on him and dislodge him some, but he's done a really good job with that, and she's done a good job with him, I think that I thought Doak was really on a good track too. Doak would have the tendency, you would think, maybe to get a little heavy, and how she's changed his body has been very positive as well. And you can't really give credit with David McCormick just yet, because he had a great body coming in. But here's where, in my opinion, your strength and conditioning coaches really can excel is, don't just look at their bodies. Look at how quick they can change directions. Look if they can plant one way and then how quick they can change directions going the other way. Because a lot of times you can get guys that maybe don't look the role, and then you find out after you get them they're exceptional at things that you kind of don't really study from a physical appearance. And some guys that look the role that you find out, when momentum's leaning one way, they have to gather before they can change directions or second jump and things like that. So those are the things that I really feel like the strength and conditioning coaches identify and then can work on that. And that's not usually stuff that happens overnight. But you know, certainly you can see vast improvement in a short amount of time. But you know, sometimes it may take the course of a career to get them where they are maximum. You know, the goal is when they leave your place, they're as maximized as they possibly can towards their total athletic ability. And she does a terrific job with that.
She really does. Isla, great question. We're going to make that our question of the night. Congratulations, Isla. She takes home one of these beautiful Jayhawk pewter statues from iconartworks.com. All right, Coach, quick thoughts on the rematch with West Virginia. They'll be even more shorthanded with a couple of players leaving yesterday.
Well, we owe them one, and that was one that we let get away. But how many times could they say the same thing about us over the years that they let, you know, some get away against us? And so we need to be ready to play, and you know, they all add up the same, but hopefully we'll have some momentum and a lot of energy in the building, and be nice to play a home afternoon Saturday game.
That's right, 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Coach, best of luck.
Thank you.
That's head coach Bill Self, and that'll do it for Hawk Talk here tonight. Thanks for joining us here on the Jayhawk Network. For Alex Birch, Bill Self, Steve Kincaid as well, I'm Brian Haney. We'll see you next week on the Jayhawk Sports Network.
You've been listening to Hawk Talk with Bill Self on the Jayhawk IMG Sports Network. Tune in each week to get the latest on Jayhawk basketball from the head coach, Bill Self. Tonight's edition of Hawk Talk has been presented by Boulevard Brewing Company, local since 1989. Capital Federal Savings, celebrating 125 years. By Johnny's Tavern, serving up tradition since 1953 in Lawrence and Kansas City area. And by Intrust Bank, proud supporter of Kansas athletics. Hawk Talk with Bill Self is an exclusive presentation of IMG, America's home for college sports.